So a big bit of advice for all you T244 owners, and for that matter probably any truck owner or new to truck, you've probably got a sedimenter on board in the fuel system. And I'll just remove this one, and as you can see from the photo I'm going to show you here, it's probably almost halfway full of sediment and crap, and a little bit of, possibly a little bit of something called algae. It's not algae, it's a fungus. So if you're having problems with your truck running, it's quite likely the fungus in your fuel tank, sedimenter, and just essentially your entire fuel system is full of this fungus. So you want to flush it out, treat it, change all the filters. Having emptied the liquid out, this is what's left in the bottom of the sedimenter. It's kind of like a bit of jelly. Not very nice. So job one of changing the fuel lines is to drain the fuel tank. While that's draining, we're going to go and disconnect some of the fuel lines up at the engine. So I did start showing you how to change the fuel lines on the Daf T244. I stopped doing that because it's quite a dirty job with these on my hands. Don't want to touch the cameras. So I've actually taken all the fuel lines out, and I've now got new fuel lines. Now if you need a set of fuel lines, you can buy these on my website, Matthew Payne Adventurer, and I'll put a link here. I will try and show you how to fit them though, and guide you how to take them off as I'm doing that. But removing them is not difficult. It's not difficult. It's just a case of undoing things. There's a few clamps under the truck, the fittings on the tank, and then the fittings on the engine. It's really quite easy to do. Once you've got your fuel lines, it's just a case of reversing that job. So the first job I'm going to do on this is I'm going to fit the fuel line from the lift pump to the sedimenter. Now I've installed a new lift pump on this truck. If you've just got a truck in the fuel lines, and especially if you're overlanding, I would change the lift pump. Some people have problems, it leaks diesel down into your oil sump, which would mean changing the oil filter and all the oil. So save yourself the hassle, put a new lift pump in, keep the old one as a spare, and that might save you a lot of problems and cost in the future. And when you do these up, you'll find you've got the hex for your spanner to sit on, and then there's a flat for a second spanner. So as you do it up, you're not turning the fitting around. When I do this, I'm being careful not to get any debris in the ends of the fuel lines. As you will see in the video, I used two spanners, one on the flat to hold the fitting there, stop it from turning, and the other to do the nut up. Next we're going to take the smaller fuel line, and the small end which is going to connect down by the engine block. This is the return feed, returning the excess fuel up here down to attach to the fuel tank. That's all the connections at this end done. Now I need to feed the fuel lines down and back under the truck, connect to the fuel tank. So there's just 2 jobs left to do now. The first one is to run the fuel lines in a neat way back along the truck. Now I'm going to follow the original path, just to make sense, and you want to fix them up to these other pipes that are here, just using zip ties. And the aim is to stop any movement. You don't want the fuel pipe to be, as the engine's shaking by brake, you don't want the fuel pipe rubbing on anything, so you want to secure it anywhere where it might be moving. Obviously keep away from any moving parts. That's gear linkages back on this end, prop shafts, etc. So just follow the original path, zip tie them up, and then the last thing to do once we get to the fuel tank is connect the fuel lines to the fuel tank. Try to keep these ends out of the dirt. Easier said than done. Now you can use some of the original brackets to hold the fuel lines up here, but as these are flexible pipes, be careful not to crush them. So there's a bit of movement still here. I've not done it up too tight, but tight enough that the hoses can't come out. Another reason to do this job early on in your truck ownership is, one, it's going to save you breaking down on the motorway and having to bleed the truck, or having troubles wherever else, maybe even in the driveway. Access right now, when you've bought the truck and there's nothing on it, is far easier than when you've turned it into an overland truck and you've got storage boxes and extra fuel tanks. It's much easier to do it now. The nice thing about these trucks is the amount of space underneath them. You can sit up quite nicely. That's the fuel sender there. Fuel level gauge sender. Final job is to get the fuel lines up. There's a bit of slack here, so I'm going to connect them up and then I'll make adjustments further down the line to hide the slack. Now I'm using ratchet spanners here, and I absolutely love them. These are Halfords ones. They've been with me quite a while, and they've done some really hard work. And they really are brilliant. Okay, so all the fuel lines are now fitted. The tank is full. Only job left now is to bleed the system. I'm going to do it on this nut here. This is the high point fuel system. So we're just going to crank the handle, little plunger on the lift pump here. Just going to use that plunger to prime the system, and then bleed the system here. See the air coming out there. Yeah, see the air coming out. It's going to take a bit of priming because the sedimenter was empty, and obviously new fuel lines. So there's going to be lots of air in there. The diesel you see coming out is coming out from the filter, which was still full of fuel. We do need to change the filter, but I don't have one with me, and I want to get the engine up and going and check all the fuel lines are all connected and or not leaking. Just keep pumping this until we don't see any more air and we start to see a nice steady flow of fuel. In fact, I can hear the fuel coming. That might be it. So the engine primed, we're going to start her up. One little trick I like to do is to reach through here. You can reach the ignition, you can start her, and you can also use a bit of throttle if you need to. Because with the cab up, it's difficult to climb in and start, so this just makes it a bit easier. And I can't do this because it's a right hand drive. I'm used to a left hand drive. The ignition barrel is just here. I don't think I'm going to reach that ignition barrel. No, I can't. Started really nicely, no leaks, so that is the fuel lines changed. Normally, if your engine's not starting for some reason, and it all obviously looks okay mechanically, and your batteries are obviously okay, then you most likely causes air in your fuel system, or the fungus in your fuel system blocking your fuel lines for sedimenter filter. So if you're having starting problems and bleeding isn't helping, or even running problems, check your sedimenter. Your sedimenter will tell you if you've got the gunge or fungus in your fuel.